Hey guys, so one of the really common questions I get is, Ken, what does it cost you to run your blog on a day-to-day basis? The truth is that the cost of running a blog can vary depending on what type of blog you are creating. So today I'm going to walk you through and unpack exactly what it costs me to run my blog and also show you the various options for what it could cost you to run a blog depending on what your goals are for your blog. My name is Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is to give you the tips, the insights and the hacks for you to work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. A blog represents an amazing side hustle that you can explore. So I hope that today should give you a bit of a motivation for how you can practically get started and to create a blog that will hopefully generate some income for you, or at least give you a way to explore a different side hustle. Okay, let's get stuck in and explore what the real cost of running a blog are.
Okay guys, so you know that I run thehumblepenny.com with my wife Mary, and I wanted to show you this because this website really started off as a really basic blog, and over time it's kind of morphed into this really big thing. Lots of things going on because we're running this website as a business. So in order to kind of figure out how much does it cost to start a blog, I just thought I'd make the really important point that, you know, the startup costs of a blog are really cheap, actually. They're quite small, depending on the type of thing that you're trying to create. So say you're creating a blog that is just a fun blog, like, you know, you just want to write some things, you wake up and you feel like it's sunny, and you want to write about the sun and a sunny day. That's fine. You know, you can do that super cheaply using so many cheap tools out there. But if you wanted to run a blog that is actually something that will make some money and something that represents the marketing department of a real business, because that's what a money-making blog is, it's the marketing department of a real business. If you wanted to run one of those, that will cost you something different. The cost will keep increasing over time because what you're doing with that is essentially you're looking at ROI. So you're not just looking at cost, you're looking at returns on your investment into a business. So you'll be looking at making a lot more money than you're spending. So what I'll do here is I've got all these tabs open, as you can see, and I want to just run you through kind of the various costs that we currently pay for. And I'll start looking at them from a basic. If you wanted to run a basic blog, what I mean is it's a fun blog, basic, a new starter blog kind of thing. Or if you want to run essentially a pro blog, a money-making pro blog. And you can have a basic blog that makes money eventually. But so my point is essentially is that you can start basic and then more costs start to get added depending on what you want to achieve. So I'm going to put a link below to my resources page on the blog. You can see the URL here, thehumblepenny.com/resources, but I'll put a link to it because here I've detailed for you the various tools that I use. You can come here and look at them later, but I just want you to kind of understand what all these things do and why we use them and what they cost. So when you start a blog, you're going to need a host and you need a domain name. Now, we use this company here. One of the host companies we use is this one called Bluehost. And we use them because, well, I started out because they offered, you can see here, a free domain name for your first year and free SSL certificate, one-click WordPress install, so they easily just connect to WordPress, which we're going to talk about in a second, and 24/7 support. So they're an American business. So if you're based in the UK, for example, you can chat to these people online easily. You can phone them if you want, but I usually just chat to them, and that's usually enough, and they can respond super quickly. Now, the reason I've come here is because the Humble Penny has a special deal with these guys, Bluehost, because when we teach people how to start blogs, if they did start those blogs and used our referral code, we basically get the hosting charges to be a lot cheaper. So if you're one of those people who really want to start blogging on a budget, something like the £3.25 per month would work really well. I mean, it's cheaper than, you know, buying a coffee at Starbucks. And you'd have to buy the kind of 36 months hosting to be able to get this value. So a host essentially is a place where they essentially hold all the files of your website so that your website's essentially not being clogged up and slow and so on. So this host holds all the details of your website. That's a very, very important part of creating a blog. Super important. So you're doing two things in one here. You're getting your free domain name and you're getting this hosting as well. So these are two things you need to do, whether you're running a basic blog or you're going to run a blog to make money in the future. You definitely need a host. Now, to be very clear, you can also get hosting with lots of other companies like GoDaddy, One-on-One. There's so many other companies. I'm just telling you what I think is cost effective. So here, if you come through our link, which I'll put below, if you click through to it, you can get this hosting super cheaply at $3.25 per month. Okay, so that's that. So we've talked about domains and we've talked about hosting. If you were not getting a free host here, a free domain here through Bluehost, by the way, you'd have to pay for that domain. Let's say you went to GoDaddy.com and you wanted to buy a domain, I don't know, eatwell.com or something. I mean, I'm just making this up, right? Okay, it's taken. You find that anyway, if you had to pay for a domain, some of them are really expensive. You can see there's a premium domain, and some of them are really cheap. You ideally want to buy a .com domain. Let's see, money talks. These are just, I can't come up with a domain name, but let's say you came up with a domain name. The point here really is that some of them cost, say, really cheaply to start, say 99p, pay it for the first year, and then the year after it typically costs about £16 or something to carry on paying every single year. Okay, so the initial cost, they usually give you a really cheap cost to get you started because it's very cheap, and then they start to charge you, say, between about £15-16 per year from the second year onwards. The same thing with Bluehost, really. They give you that free domain for the first year. They make it very clear here. And after that, you start to pay some more. Okay, so that's domain hosting and the actual domain registration. The next thing you need is a theme. Okay, now I use one called the Genesis framework. Now this is possibly one of the most used themes on websites. So back to here, this is a theme that's helping my website look the way it looks. Okay, so I use this and it's really cheap because all I'm paying here is $59, it's about $60 for the lifetime of this. It's not per year. You pay once and that's it. You've got the theme. The reason I really like this theme is because it's really secure and it's search engine optimized. So it's highly customizable as well. But you can get free themes. So if you're somebody who just doesn't really want to pay for anything and you want a really super cheap blog, yes, you can get, there are free themes within WordPress, which I'll show you in a minute. But if you want to run this properly as a business, you want your thing to look really well, you have to find a suitable theme. There are lots of other themes, but I personally use this one, the Genesis framework. And I found out about this because I did my research on other professionally run blogs, people who are running their blogs as businesses. I wanted to know what they were using, and a lot of those people share because they typically generate, say, an affiliate commission for their referrals or whatever. But anyway, so they give you the information. So I knew that this was what they were using, and I checked this out myself and started using it. Okay, so there you have it. You're going to need a theme for sure. Okay, you can pay for it, you can get a free one. Next, you're going to need something upon which your entire blog is going to be built. Now, there are lots of platforms like Squarespace and Weebly and so on. But I use WordPress, so WordPress.org. You can see here, the reason for using WordPress is because WordPress is open source. So you can customize this thing in any way, shape, or form. And it's so powerful, WordPress. Your website can look however you want. You can see customizable designs, SEO friendly, high performance, super responsive and mobile, which is what you want, high security, easy and accessible. All these things are exactly as they say. And the really interesting thing, which is very powerful here, you can extend WordPress with over 54,000 plugins. So lots of dev people have built these plugins that will help you actually create a really powerful blog if you want, okay? A blog that does so many things. So mine, I have about 30 different plugins on my website, and those plugins include things such as backup security to kind of back up my blog, things that kind of check the analytics on my system, things that help to prevent spam content and spammers, things that just prevent so many things from going badly wrong. Now, WordPress is completely free. Whether you're running a pro website, whether you're running a basic one, this is a free system to use. Now, the next one is actually building your blog. Now, you can do this yourself using WordPress. You can kind of click through and they show you exactly what to do. In fact, on my website, I'll put a link to this here. It's called Start a Blog. If you come here, how to start a blog, I've done it for you. I can put a link to it so you can kind of reference it. So I've done here pre-blog setup and the various things you need to do basically to actually set it up, to begin setting up your blog, like what you need to do in WordPress, how to get your domain, etc. I've done everything here, what you need to basically do to set this up. But the point I wanted to make is that you can set this all up yourself, and that's completely fine. But you can also pay somebody like a web designer to do it for you. I'd highly recommend if you're starting out at the beginning, then what you really want to do is to do this yourself to start out. It's a really great learning experience, and you really get to understand how WordPress works. Okay, it's super intuitive, really, really straightforward. But if you need somebody to make the whole thing look pretty, you might need a kind of web design person. This site hasn't always looked this good, right? To be absolutely clear, right? It's had multiple iterations. In fact, there's no week that this website does not have some iteration, some change. So you've got to see the blog as a kind of a living thing in a way, because it's constantly changing and evolving. You're changing all your tabs as time progresses, as you offer more things. So I got somebody to design for me to make this look pretty. It's kind of build all these elements, which you can do yourself, to be honest, but I got someone to do it for me. So the reason I'm mentioning that is that came at a cost. I seem to remember paying something like I think it's $200 or something to kind of get started. So not really that expensive at all, which is even cheaper in pounds terms. Now, I'm going to move on to social sharing. I use something called welfare plugins. These guys essentially create really beautiful sharing buttons. Okay, so just to show you what I mean by that, if you come to blog, just so you can see it for yourself, you see here where it says, it gives you all these options for how to share, and it shows you the share count right here. Okay, this comes from these guys, this website here called Welfare Plugins. I'll put a link to it below so you can check it out as well. I pay once a year, and all that happens is, if I remember correctly, just go to my tools to check out what I'm paying. So $29 a year. Okay, right, again, super cheap. Now, you don't have to use these guys. Okay, I use them because a lot of the pros are using them, and I wanted my site to look like a professional website. So that's why I chose them. You don't have to use them at all if you don't want to. Okay, you can find free ones online. Again, if you're very conscious, you can find other ones online. Okay, like companies like Sumo offer you some of these stuff as well, but it will definitely not look kind of as pretty. But you can get alternatives to use. Now, next we're going to move on to email capture. Email's super important if you're going to be running a blog. So you want a way in which you can contact your visitors or your subscribers. You want to be able to push out communications to them via a newsletter or something like that. So I use this company here called ConvertKit. This is possibly the most powerful thing that I use to run my entire blog, because it doesn't just do email capture for you. It does some really interesting things. I can go into in a second, but let me just tell you what it actually costs. As a starter, I think you can start this. You can say here, it says try for free, right? You can start for free. But if you start to get subscribers from, say, 0 to 1,000 subscribers, you pay $29 a month, which is a very interesting business model for these guys, because as you start to get more subscribers, which is a good thing, by the way, because you want your blog to grow. If you're running as a business, you start to pay more. So I'm like over 7,000 subscribers. So you can see they've come up with a really whizzy way of you to check how much it costs. It costs me $99 a month to have this email system. It's a really powerful email system. So you can see what the features are. You can do visual automations. I'll show you what these are in a second. So remember, I'm paying for that pro one, right? You can have customizable forms. You can have email sends, subscriber tagging. This is so important. Essentially, if somebody performs an action on your blog, you can have them tagged so that you can almost identify who those people are who have maybe clicked on a particular link, stuff like that. Reporting, you can have integrations into lots and lots of other apps, for example. So our online school is built on Thinkific, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. You can see here as a basic, you get lots of things given to you as well. But the only difference is that as you grow in the level of your subscribership, you start to pay more, basically. So I pay $99, as I showed you before. You can also pay annually to make this a lot cheaper. As you can see, $25 per month if you pay annually, which they bill, you can see here says $290 billed annually. Now, there are other platforms to use. For example, you could use MailChimp. That's an alternative. And MailChimp essentially give you their platform for free, I believe up to 1,000 subscribers or something like that. Now, I personally would not recommend that because ConvertKit is infinitely a lot more powerful because of all these features, segmentation, automations. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So just have a look. So this is the back end of my actual blog. You can see, we've got, I'm being modest, just over 7,000 subscribers. You can see every day, I can see who's subscribing to this blog, every single day. And you can do things like, I've got this email sequence that goes out. So whenever you subscribe to my free How to Start a Blog course, you can see I've scheduled everything here up to 8 days. And these emails just go out. I don't have anything to do with these. They just go out automatically based on when you subscribe. You can see they tell you all the things you can do here. Automations. I can show you what these automations do. For example, if you subscribe to, say, my free money course, you can see that I've created this process that lets me run my business automatically, because the minute you subscribe, ConvertKit tags you to say, James or Helen subscribed to your course. You can see tags, so I know every single person who has subscribed. And then you go through a process, like a process going on here, where the course then gets delivered to you by email. And then once you've completed the course, it then tags you again to say, James or Helen have completed the course. And then the automation ends. This automation could carry on. I could make it even more complicated to say, in 2 weeks' time, please email James and Helen to say, hi, thanks for completing the course, blah, blah, blah. So you can see there are lots and lots of things going on here. I've got other ones here going on for my blog course. These automations are so powerful if you want to run a blog as a business. But if you're running it as a basic person who just wants a starter blog and who's not really interested in running as a business, you still need some form of an email capture if you want to send people emails. Now, the other thing to mention is that ConvertKit gives you things called forms and landing pages, which are really, really important. So I've got a bunch I mentioned earlier. I'll show you actually on the blog because it's easier for you to understand what I mean. Okay. So if I came to the homepage, see here where I say to you, join my free 10-day course to help you reimagine your money and future goals. That there is a form. It's you enter your name, you enter your email address, and you sign up. And when you sign up, you come here immediately and you show up as a subscriber. If I went to subscribers, you'd see it, but I don't want to go there because it's got lots of personal information, which I can't really show for GDPR purposes. But you come there as a subscriber immediately and you get tagged as somebody who has subscribed to, see, this automation will kick in immediately. This is the beauty of a system like this. I don't even know, well, I know you've subscribed, but there's no work from me, which is what's so powerful about running an online business. This automation then kicks in over the next 10 days, delivering the course sequence to you in this section, and then tagging you at the end to say you've completed the course. Then in the future, if I wanted to identify James and Helen, I'll literally just come here and click to show me everybody who's completed this course. And I'll say, okay, I want to send all those people emails, or I might say I want to send only the people in the UK and remove everybody else from the rest of the world. So this just lets you do so much. I cannot almost big this system up enough. You can see they show you all those things I was mentioning, automations. You can even see, had I gone to the subscriber tab mentioned, you can see whenever I send an email, how many people subscribe, how many people unsubscribe. You can see conversion rates, click-through rates, email open rates. You can see so many things. So I highly recommend this system if you're a new beginner to blogging and you really want to just do blogging in a fun way and understand what's going on, as well as being able to contact people. I recommend these guys a lot. I'll put a link to them below in a link so you can check them out. Now, at this stage, if you are just a person starting a blog and that's all you want to do is just to run a blog and have fun with it, that's all you're running as a business, this is enough. And even as a pro blogger or somebody who's making money from the blog, this is usually enough. Except my blog has kind of morphed into something a little bit bigger than that, okay? Because I do marketing, I do, courses. So I'm just going to spend this rest of this part of this video just showing you some of those things, because you might be somebody who is interested in actually creating a blog that makes money in the future, and you want to kind of learn what other things I use, okay? So I'll just move on and talk about something called Tailwind. So this here is what I use to run our Pinterest account. So I'll just log in and show you what our Pinterest actually looks like. It's important that you can kind of see what I mean, right? You can see here that, okay, so here's Pinterest. On Pinterest, we create these various pins, right, which you can see are all doing different things. People are clicking through, people are looking at them. You can see that all these various pins, what they actually do is bring people to our blog, okay? They're very, very powerful for doing that, for bringing people back to our actual blog, okay? So I use this system here called Tailwind, because what it does is it helps me act as a scheduler, helps me schedule all those pins on various boards on Pinterest automatically, okay? And it also gives me some monitoring, some analytics, and a bunch of other things, okay? So you can look at the features here, okay? Smart scheduling, and so on. It also does something called Tailwind Tribes, which is actually essentially people create their own tribes and can become a member of a tribe. And by sharing within those tribes, for everything you put into a tribe in terms of content from your boards, you have to also share somebody else's piece of content. So this is a way in which I market the blog and bring a ton of traffic back to the humblepenny.com. Okay, so the visitors, if I looked in my Google Analytics, a lot of them will be coming from Pinterest, as well as other platforms such as Google. Now, I want to show you here what it really costs me. So I pay $9.99 per month. You can pay it annually. Yeah, monthly is $15. Annual is about $10 a month. And I just prepay. I do this because, again, I'm running the blog as a business, and because I'm thinking more ROI, return on investment, these costs to me don't really matter, because the business is making enough money, way more money, to cover all these things. So I never really have to think about these costs. Okay, so next thing I wanted to share with you is that I also create online courses and educate people via direct learning. We do this at our online school at Financial Joy Academy, which I will put a link to below, so you can check it out for yourself. Okay, so you can see here on Financial Joy Academy, which is currently being developed actually, but we have courses already live. We have a bunch of courses that we've created, and these courses are all run off this platform called Thinkific. Okay, I'll share a link so you can check this out for yourself. But I'm mentioning this because down the line, depending on what your business model is for your blog, i.e., remember that I mentioned that the blog is the marketing department of a business, depending on what that business is, that would then dictate what your future costs will be for running your blog business, essentially. I hate to call it blog business, but it's a way in which most people can kind of relate, but this is actually just a business. So Thinkific is my chosen platform for so many reasons, because number one, I don't have tech skills, okay? I trained as a chartered accountant. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing most of the time, but I've had to learn a lot, and I know a lot more than the average person now. But this platform is super duper powerful. I mean, just to show you, one of my courses. It's super simple investing. Okay, so this is our new course, right? It's just gone live. Look how super professional this looks. I mean, just to give you an idea, I mean, you look at that, you think this is done by, some huge company. You can embed videos, you can put calls to actions, you can even describe your entire curriculum, you can kind of go in, go out, explain what your course is about. You can see in here, You can do lots of videos, text type content. Anyway, just to show you. And obviously you can go to the bottom and people can pay and, what have you. You can change colors. It's really, really powerful for that. If this is kind of stuff you want to maybe do one day. You can start for free. So you can begin this process completely for free. Okay. And it tells you what you get. You can do 3 courses for free, have unlimited students, can have your content, your entire content is hosted by them. I'll put a link below so you can click through and check these guys out. They're definitely a must if you like creating direct content so people can learn. Then you move on to basic. I pay for this one called the Pro. So I pay $99 a month. Okay. That's because I want pro features. Now, I didn't just want pro features just for pro features' sake. It's because I wanted unlimited courses, unlimited students. Remember, we're running a business and we want to be able to grow and scale. And we have membership bundles. For example, Financial Joy Academy is going to become a membership in the very near future. So we wanted to be able to do all these things. There's many things I can't really explain to you, but essentially if you read these here, you can understand what I mean, right? So we're paying to have access to all those things so that we can run a much more effective financial education business. Okay. Now, beyond kind of this education piece, there are other things you're going to run your business to make money, to run it properly. For example, as you start to grow, you might want a virtual assistant. Platforms such as this website here called Upwork can help you essentially hire freelancers. Okay, so this is where you're getting more advanced. You need some help to be able to run your site. I currently don't have a virtual assistant because I have my wife, who's way better than a virtual assistant. So my wife essentially runs lots of our marketing and operations and does a lot of creative work. But we will need a virtual assistant because we feel like we're missing a member of staff, basically. But if you want one of those, you can come to a website like this and grab one, okay? And kind of invest in one, essentially. Over time, you'll also need a tech person who just helps to protect your, just make sure your website and your business is kind of protected. I have somebody who I use who essentially helps me to design my site. I've built a relationship over the last 2 years, and she essentially helps to do stuff. Like if I need something done, I'm on the move, I'll just contact her and say, hey, can you please come and can you please do this? And she just does it and she just sends me a bill. Okay. So that's how that works. You might also need things such as an editor. So if you're creating, say, video content, I'll just show you here on YouTube, we're starting to essentially have our own YouTube channel called The Humble Penny. If this is what you're interested in, you can kind of see at this stage, we're quite new to YouTube, so we're kind of just starting out. You can see that all these videos require, to get them to the sort of quality that you want them to be, they require a ton of editing to create these thumbnails and to create, like for example, this is one of our really popular videos released a month ago. You can see really, really effective thumbnail. So to do all this means you need an editor. At this stage, really, you're getting really advanced in your kind of blogging process. Okay, this is something you're interested in. But again, you don't really need this as a beginner person. And the other thing to mention is that to run your business effectively, you need an accounting software system. I use one called Xero. As it says here, Xero is a beautiful business. And it really does make your business amazing, really, because what you do here essentially is this is built for people who don't understand accounting and who just have no interest in accounting. And what it does is it captures all your income that you're making, all your expenses that you're making for you. Okay, your financial position is your balance sheet, so your cash and cash flow. Financial performance is your income statement or profits and loss, essentially all your income less all your expenses. This system helps you to do all that. Okay, I believe I pay £22 a month for this. I think they're doing some offers now, so you can kind of get them cheaper. If you're a beginner, you don't have to get an accounting system yet, but I'd highly recommend if you're running as a business, please make sure you do, because this will start to matter in time, because you want to know that what you're doing is making some money and it's profitable and it's helping you fulfill your goals. So that's it.
So guys, there you have it. You now know what it really costs to run a blog. Question is, would you like to start a blog? If so, look in the link below to my tutorial. It's a step-by-step tutorial for how you can go about doing the various things that I mentioned on this video in order for you to create a blog for yourself. I'll also put a link to my resources page on my own blog that shows you the various tools that I use to run my blog successfully in order to generate income on an ongoing basis. Thank you so much for watching. If you already run a blog, I'd love to hear from you below. What was your motivation for starting a blog? How are you finding the blogging experience? If you've always wanted to start blogging but just can't seem to find the motivation, I'd love to also hear from you in the comments. Why are you not finding the motivation? What's the real challenge? What is it that you're struggling with? Please ask me below in the comments and I'll be more than happy to respond and help you to move forward. If you like this video, please make sure you really hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if this is your first time coming on this channel. I'd love for you to come back and see our future videos. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to us that you watch these videos, and we look forward to seeing you on our next videos. Take care and bye for now.